Good evening, afternoon, night, morning, whenever you find a way to watch and listen to this podcast. It is me, Omar T. Borja, the Burger Popper. And man, it is week 5, and I'm back with my good friend Jackson just to talk about the week ahead and the week that was, and go and go on forward with our show. So, Jackson, is everything going?
Going great, man. Heisman talk is heating up as that is what we predominantly cover. Like to start out with just kind of being a college football awards based podcast. We have some great players of the week and just an absolutely loaded slate with week 5. I kind of caught a break that both Florida and Texas Tech have bye weeks. So when I told Izzy that, she was like, "Oh, why didn't we plan something? Like we could have like gone out and gone to some pumpkin patch or something." And I said, "Absolutely not. We have an unbelievable slate. Obviously, Alabama, Georgia, Penn State, Oregon. You don't listen to Hardware to find out more about those games, although we'll both be watching them. But man, we have just even your fifth or sixth option to watch on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night is going to be like still a very good game. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great slate, honestly, starting tonight and then tomorrow too. Tomorrow even.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have some. We're recording this way too early on Thursday morning. We have some great Friday night games. Yeah, dude, all of week 5 is really conference play starting up. Some parts. No, it's gonna be really great. So
Yeah, so I mean, let's get this started. Without further ado, so before we go into Player of the Week talk, we're going to go into Heisman talk. So we kind of got to a clearing of the picture. So I guess Fernando Mendoza is he the front runner for the Heisman after his performance against Illinois this past week? Because I think that was a story of college football this past weekend.
maybe a front runner at a standstill picture between weeks 4 and 5. I don't think that's going to last just because of the matchups that we have this Saturday, right? So you're either gonna have Ryan Williams or Gunnar Stockton coming out on top. You're either gonna have Drew Aller or coming out on top. So I think maybe like just for this week, but I don't think that's going to last personally.
Okay, I think that's interesting. I mean, because I think the Mendoza hype is there. Um, we'll just see. I feel like the path is there for him to continue his Heisman push. I mean, they
Yeah.
got Penn State, they got Oregon, so like the games are there. And I think if there was a good, like, I think the Illinois game was the best launch pad that you could have. Really, 63-10 win. Um, and I mean, really just vaulted
Just a
Indiana.
demolition of Illinois.
Yeah.
Like they made them look like it was a pay to play game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think any I thought I was expecting a really competitive game. So I would have to agree, but I do think the path is there for Mendoza, honestly. And I feel like a lot of voters are going to want to give an Indiana guy some not sympathy, but just some momentum, just because of everything the program has had. Not really to go through, but just the lack of success the program has had before Coach Sig.
I
Uh,
mean, they play USC this week, right? On big noon kickoff. So
Illinois does. Illinois plays
oh no,
USC.
no, sorry, yeah, not yet. Or yeah, you're right. You're right.
Uh,
That shows you how early we're recording this.
yeah.
um,
So yeah.
Omar, I want to give you 3 quick names, and we'll just do in or out on these names. So Brendon Lewis from Memphis, you in or out on him?
Absolutely, I'm absolutely in on Brendon Lewis, honestly. And I figured because, man, like the American is under such of a microscope now. Like a lot of people were talking about, oh, is there a 2-bit American? I mean, there's a chance that we could have two, I guess, have 11-0 Memphis and 11-0 Navy with the win against Notre Dame playing on Thanksgiving night. And then I think, honestly, that would be a Heisman stage for both Brendon Lewis and Blake Horvath. So I think the path is definitely there. And I think him having a game on ABC where he beat Arkansas and not only beat Arkansas but came back from 18 down. I definitely think that is something that like he has a Heisman moment. Honestly, 18-point comeback in ABC. Not many players on against the SEC team too.
It's the SEC school. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so
Agreed. I am
I'm in on
100%,
Brendan Lewis. I'm
100%
absolutely
with
in.
you. Marcel Reed, Texas A&M.
I would say yes, but I think Texas A&M needs to cut the games and go to the SEC title game for that to happen. I feel like a lot of people are waiting for A&M's breakthrough,
Ooh,
but Marcel
interesting.
Reed. Yeah, Marcel Reed is amazing at A&M, but also the running back play too that they have. The running back room they have at A&M is no joke. I mean, I think they deserve more attention as well.
Thomas Castellanos from Florida State. In or out?
I'm gonna say out because I feel
Good
like a lot
answer.
of people, yeah, with the ACC, I just feel like it's uphill battle with the ACC. The perception there is that it's just Miami and everyone else. But if they beat Miami on October 4th, or yeah, on October 4th in that game, I feel like I might have to be in on Thomas Castellanos. But as it stands now, I'm kind of out, honestly.
Between Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith, who from Ohio State is more likely?
I think Jeremiah Smith, to be honest with you, I feel like it's just a thing with Jeremiah Smith having more of a reputation nationally just from playing
Jeremiah
last
Smith is
year.
a household name.
Yep.
Julian Sayin has done some fantastic things as a true freshman, things that true freshmen haven't done since the 80s. But Jeremiah Smith, like you said, no, I would agree. He's the reputation, the household name, hard to
Yeah.
ignore.
Yeah, exactly. So I have to say Smith, honestly. And we've seen it before with Marvin Harrison Jr. getting Heisman finalist love in 23, I think. Yeah, in 23.
I do need to get you a conductor hat as you are the leader of the Brendon Lewis hype train, though.
I've been since 2021, honestly. Okay, well, I mean, maybe not 2021, but I still remember against Texas A&M at Mile High Stadium, him almost leading the upset against the with the bare bones Colorado team against Texas A&M. So I've been a fan for a long time.
He's done a lot of good things. We will move on to our offensive player of the week. Omar, who was your offensive player that you want to highlight from week 4?
So I've got dual honors from the same game. I got Jack Morvan, wide receiver from Nichols, not Nichols State, but Nichols in Massachusetts, Division III, and then Sean Burns, quarterback of the Coast Guard Academy. They played in a 92-60 epic at the Coast Guard Academy. Burns went 20. Burns will get most of the attention because his team won with 92 points for Coast Guard, but Burns had completed 20 of 24 passes, 389 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 24 passes. Had 7 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown, so 7 total touchdowns, over 400 total yards on an offense that scored 92 points. Really mind-blowing, honestly. But Morvan, not to be outdone, in a losing effort for Nichols, where they scored 60 points themselves, Morvan had 10 catches for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns. Morvan is a graduate student. This man needs to be on the radar of the American Bowl, the Hula Bowl, if the Hula Bowl happens this year. I know they announced a recent venue change, but I mean, Morvan is definitely looks like all-star game material, while Sean Burns is only a sophomore. But if he's putting up those type of numbers at Division III at Coast Guard, like I think he is worthy. He's going to be worthy of an all-star game nod come his senior year. But wow, a 92-60 game, you don't really see that too often.
That's higher scoring than some basketball games, man. That's insane.
Yep.
That is insane. Also, just looking it up real quick, I did not realize Coast Guard is a New Balance school. So Boston College isn't the only one out there. I did not realize. I just went to click on an article and that was the first thing that popped up. But nice. That is amazing. I'm going with Ty Pennington, the quarterback from Northern Arizona. A pedestrian stat line, maybe not pedestrian, but he was 17 for 34, so only 50%, 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. But it was in a ranked win over Incarnate Word, and the 3 touchdowns they threw, they were for 33, 46, and 30 yards. So, Omar, I pose you the question: is Ty Pennington the best deep ball quarterback in the Big Sky? Because the more digging you do on it, the more it seems like it. So I'll give you some context. So for 20 plus air yards throws, so deep balls, right? He is averaging 19 yards an attempt and has a 91.4 PFF grade. So in 26 attempts of throwing at 20 plus air yards, he has 503 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The only caveat, you have to keep him clean for that. He's been pressured on 34 attempts and only has 12 completions and 202 yards on those. But if you keep him clean, he has a really good deep ball, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised, honestly. Like, I heard the name Ty Pennington, and I thought you were talking about the home improvement guy, honestly. I thought you were talking about the extreme home makeover guy. Let me see if I can get an image out here. just for the comedy. But yeah,
Omar,
I'm
noted
impressed.
HGTV fan.
Well, not HGTV. It was on ABC. Like it was on ABC. There we go. Ty Pennington. Ty Pennington with a great performance. But I will say this: Pennington did great for Northern Arizona. But there's no reason why Incarnate Word should be ranked. It is a shame. It is an absolute shame that the voters still had them ranked. I booted them from the poll after the week one loss or week zero loss. Well, the first poll was week one, but it's just
On
a
the
shame.
road at Nicholas, where
Yeah.
it looked like the offensive line was non-existent.
Yeah, they need to. Yeah, they should not have been ranked. That's not taking anything away from Northern Arizona because they've had a great year so far, and I think they're worthy of being in that large conversation. But yeah, Ty Pennington. I mean, um, in a world where we're talking about Montana, Idaho, Montana State, I think it's great if the Big Sky is more parity, like more programs beyond just the big three, doing great things. So I'm excited for what Northern Arizona has in store. I mean, I think they're ranked in the top 20, so they're definitely in that large conversation.
Absolutely. No, Northern Arizona kind of having a little bit of a slept on year, and Ty Pennington specifically. Anytime you see a quarterback that's not just a dink and dunk guy that can actually throw it deep, even if the stats aren't the same as the guys that are throwing it behind the line of scrimmage and getting a bunch of yak on it. I always love recognizing those guys. So Ty Pennington, definitely a name to watch out for. Omar, who's your defensive player of the week from week 4?
So I got Barron Hobson for Kennesaw State. He's a senior, so he is all-star. He is, I guess, all-star game material. But he had 14 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and a 28-21 win over Arkansas State. That is, to my knowledge, Kennesaw State's first FBS non-conference win. They had an FCS win earlier this year against Merrimack, and they're 500 for the first time in their 2 years as a FCS school or FBS school. I should say 1.1 and a quarter because they did struggle last year. But for them being 500 with 4 games, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment. Barron Hobson had 14 tackles and 2 pass breakups over Arkansas State, who went to a bowl last year. If you remember, he beat Arkansas had beaten Harold Fannin and Bowling Green in the it's called the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile. He's a bit undersized, 6'1", 215, but great football IQ and block shedding ability. And Kennesaw State, if there aren't enough bowl teams, as there tends to be, they would be next on the list in terms of bowl eligibility, given that this is their final transition year. So, definitely a story to watch out for. The path to 6-6 is there. Conference USA spots 3 through 9 in the or 3 through 10 in the conference are wide open. It's just wide. Or sorry, 3 through 12. There's 12 teams this year. Yeah, it's wide open. So there's a lot of parity in that league beyond the top level in terms of the bowl race. So Barron Hobson, great game, and Kennesaw State, one of the good early stories of college football.
He was one of the Jackson State Deion Sanders transfers. After Deion left, he transferred to Kennesaw. So,
okay, I had no idea. Okay, wow.
My defensive player of the week, Evan Johnson. He's a senior wide cornerback from BYU. Against East Carolina, he had 6 total tackles, but then in 7 targets, he had 2 interceptions, a pass breakup, and only allowed 18 yards. He is getting a bigger and bigger piece of being BYU's defense. So in week 1, he played 27 snaps, week 2, 43 snaps, week 3, 60 snaps. The whole time he hasn't allowed a reception longer than 13 yards. So Evan Johnson, just a cover corner that has played fantastic on the outside for BYU thus far.
Yeah, I mean, BYU is quietly quietly a contender in the Big 12. I feel like they have not been getting as much love as Texas Tech, even Utah, which is crazy that Utah had risen to a higher ranking than BYU, given Utah's struggles last year. But I guess that's a Devin Dampier effect.
That's having 2 of the 5 best tackles in football and a transfer quarterback and offensive coordinator, I think.
Yeah, you know better than I do. I mean, I just know Devin Dampier, but yeah, the linemen, I guess too. But yeah, they're quietly a candidate, honestly. Like I'm excited for this Big 12 race because I mean, we know that anyone can win that league year in, year out. It's a really weird phenomenon.
Yeah. The Big 12 is an interesting conference. I remember Dan Wetzel talking about how because it's so geographically spread out. And so is kind of the ACC and the Big Ten, but it's like condensed areas, right? You have the West Coast and kind of that southeast, coast for the ACC. No, the Big 12 is like all over the country, so you're not necessarily going against each other in recruiting. Like just because Arizona State is doing really well in recruiting does not really affect UCF's recruiting, right? So it was interesting that it's the conference that invites the most parity because of just how all over the country it is. So
yeah, I definitely agree. It is a hard conference to really predict, and from all fabrics of it's made up of honestly like people from remnants from like four different conferences: Big East,
yeah,
American, Pac-12. I guess Mountain West too. I guess not even Mountain West, but independent if you're talking about BYU. So just like you're pulling from all those different conferences, like yeah, I mean
all over the
we go
place.
on for days. Yeah.
Omar, who is your HBCU player of the week?
So for my HBCU player of the week, I got to give a shout out to Howard for Kedrick Green, defensive back. Eight tackles and an interception in a 35-7 win over Hampton in the Truth and Service Classic. Howard had not beaten Hampton and had not won the honor of the real HU since 2014. So that was their first win in that series in a long time. It was long awaited, and I know a lot of people, including myself, are kind of looking at the MEAC race right now. Like you got the usual suspects. You got North Carolina Central, and you got Delaware State with Deshaun Jackson at the helmet, and with Marcus Gillis running the ball really amazing out there. Like they have the nation's number one rushing attack, but Howard honestly is still there. Like kind of reminds me of Tom Brady at that one what do you call it, trophy presentation. It was like we're still here. We're still here. Like Howard's still there. Like I think they're 3-1 right now. They've only lost to Temple. That's not a bad loss. They beat Florida A&M. They beat Morehouse, and then now they beat Hampton. So they're 3-1 right now. They're still there, and the MEAC race is going to be very entertaining. But I think Hedrick Green is interesting. He's not a senior just yet, so he can't play in the HBCU Legacy Bowl, which handed out their first invites this past year. Eric Hunter had was one of them, and the SWAC I think preseason defensive player of the year also got the other nod. Hunter being the preseason MEAC defensive player of the year. But Kedrick Green reminds me of Kenny Gallup, a great safety from last year who was on a lot of teams' draft boards, and I'm surprised he didn't get any free agent nod after the draft because he looked like everything you'd want in a safety: hard hitting, smart, heady, adept in the passing game, but just wasn't signed by any team as far as I know. So Howard's been producing some great defensive backs under Coach Larry Smith recently. But yeah, Howard, Delaware State, and North Carolina Central make up just a great like upper half of the MEAC. And this race is it's gonna be spicy. It's a 5-game sprint, and it's always spicy.
Omar, I did beat you to the Google Doc on my HBCU player of the week. So it's kind of like in Sunday school when a question is asked, you weren't really listening, and just shout out Jesus, and odds are it's the right answer. I'm going with Chris Mosley, the unbelievable running back from North Carolina Central. In his last game, he had 11 attempts for 171 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's averaging over 15 yards a carry. But wait, there's more. Another 4 receptions for 90 yards and another 2 receiving touchdowns. Omar, it's been a little while since I've said if you can't catch, you can't play as a running back, the old MJB quote. So I'll break that out for Chris Mosley. But believe it or not, that's actually not even the game that he's rushed the most for this year. He had like 182 against Southern, but he's used in the pass game seldomly. I really like it's not every play that he's out there. Obviously, if he has 171 rushing yards, but he is just an unbelievable stat. He's averaging more than 10 yards per route ran, not per target. Just if he runs a route, he is averaging 10 receiving yards, which is just insane. So Chris Mosley, just a name to keep watching out for from NC Central.
Yeah, I mean, Mosley has been amazing. And honestly, after his performance in the MEAC SWAC Challenge, week 0, introduced a lot of people to him. I really think that he's a Walter Payton Award candidate, honestly, especially if North Carolina Central ends up winning the MEAC again, going to the Celebration Bowl. But I want to just correct myself really quick. I said Larry Smith. Larry Scott is a head coach of Howard. Just had to correct myself there. I got a fact check. And then also, too, Sekelby Gibbons was the other recipient of the first HBCU legacy, the first two HBCU legacy, or late HBCU Legacy Bowl invites. The Defensive Player of the Year from the SWAC from Grambling that had, or from Southern. I don't know why I'm thinking of Grambling, from Southern, who had, I think, 27 and a half tackles for loss last year. While I mentioned that. But yeah, Jackson, yeah, see, Chris Mosley is honestly, he's having a groundbreaking year, but it's just a shame that he just won't get much love just because he's a running back. Something I always dislike about the Walter Payton Award voting process, if you will. I mean, it's just a shame.
Yeah, unfortunately, but Chris has had a fantastic year, so hopefully they can. I mean, North Carolina Central looks like they could win the Celebration Bowl, man. I mean, they are looking like hot out of the gate. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Omar, what was your first game of the week to watch in Week 5?
So my first game of the week is Arkansas Pine Bluff versus Alcorn State in the Southern Heritage Classic in Memphis. I mean, this if this game looks different, then it definitely is because Tennessee State had pulled out of this game just over various money disputes. Like, we won't get into that, but that is a hot topic in HBCU circles about the payouts and contracts, I guess, per se, of the Southern Heritage Classic. So Alcorn State took Tennessee State's spot in that classic, and they'll play Arkansas Pine Bluff, who has played in this game the last couple of years after Jackson State pulled out. So last year for Pine Bluff, for the Golden Lions, Giovanni Gibson had an amazing season with 70 catches and over 1,200 yards. But this year, it's the running game that's doing the job for the Lions. Jalen Jennings has 5 touchdowns in 3 games, and he has 249 rushing yards to go within those 3 games, with one of those games coming against Texas Tech. Both teams desperately need a win, although per se, this is SWAC play. Yeah, they definitely need a win because, of course, in SWAC play, in the SWAC and the MEAC, the non-conference schedule, yeah, it does matter, but all that matters at the end of the day is, like, are you going to be playing the first weekend of December, and then are you going to win that first game in the first weekend of December, the SWAC championship game, to reach the Celebration Bowl? More interestingly enough, the Southern Heritage Classic in Memphis, along with the Las Vegas Classic, will be streamed on HBCU Go and Amazon Prime. They'll be using HBCU Go's production team, so no Al Michaels, unfortunately. But even though they got a great production team there, but I mean, just a must-win game early on for both teams, and both I guess not really sleepers, but Arkansas Pine Bluff too in a competitive SWAC West could get off to a good start, and that the SWAC West looks open, to be honest with you. Well, Alcorn State, too, I forgot to mention, Alcorn State had snapped Northwestern State's 20-game losing streak to begin the season. So they talk about a team that desperately needs a win. I mean, Alcorn State fits the bill, and man, they are not the Alcorn State that we remember from the late 2010s. This is just far off. So yeah, just definitely a great game to watch there.
For my first game of the week, if we had a weaker slate at the FBS level, I can totally see this being a game day type game because it is a top 10 FCS matchup. So number 8 Idaho is playing at number 5 Montana. Idaho is 2-2, but they're undefeated against FCS opponents. That said, their losses might actually be more impressive than their wins. They've only beaten St. Thomas by 7 points and Utah Tech by 14. Their 2 losses were by 3 points against Washington State and San Jose State. So quarterback Joshua Wood from Idaho actually transferred from Fresno State. I'm sure that helped with the preparation piece for Wazoo and San Jose State. And then for Montana, Eli Gilman has just looked fantastic. Just something to watch out for with Eli Gilman. So if you look at his breakdown of what his, attempts and yards are per gap, when he runs to the outside shoulder of the tight end, right? So a very, very wide run. He is averaging 22 yards an attempt on 8 attempts. 4 out of his 6 touchdowns actually come from running in that, outside that outside shoulder for the right side tight end. He generally plays stronger when running to the right than the left, but when it's the wide right, I mean, on 8 attempts, 22 yards an attempt, that's pretty good. So
Yeah, I know that one definitely get catches most people's eyes as an after dark game for the Big Sky. With
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. Great time slot. I think it's like what a 10:15 kickoff
yeah, I
time.
think so.
So
Yeah,
um,
but I think in the Big Sky, like there definitely is some. It is a kind. I wouldn't say a vacuum, but there is a window at the top because Montana State struggled against Mercyhurst this past weekend at home, only beating them 17-0. Like you don't typically want to see the number 3 team in the country. You don't typically want to see the number 2 team in the country. Excuse me, Montana State or number 3 team, 3 or 4 team in the country. I forget the rankings, but you don't want to see them struggling with a Northeast Conference school, especially a Northeast Conference school that had just become Division 1 the prior year. So there's a window at the top, and this one could kind of clear the picture a bit, show who could, I guess, unseat Montana State for the top spot in the Big Sky. So definitely one that I am looking forward to in that late night slot. Going on to my next game of the week, I got Presbyterian versus Morehead State. Presbyterian's dream season continues. They were 4-0 for the first time since 1959 when they went to the Citrus Bowl and they ended the season 9-2 in the Tangerine now Citrus Bowl. They beat Bluefield 76-3 last week. I mean, that's not saying as much as Bluefield is. I think NAIA or Division 2, one of the two. But they outgained them 546 to 160. Colin Hurst has 13 touchdown passes in 4 games. He is still a Walter Payton candidate, but man, I'm gonna keep mentioning this Presbyterian team as long as they're winning because it's an amazing story. I mean, not many times in the Pioneer Football League do you get teams starting off so quick and getting rankings love this early in the year. They have 2 wins over the Southern Conference. They're now in the top 25 for the first time ever. This is the best story of the year. Bottom line up front. So Presbyterian versus Morehead State in this one. So hopefully Presbyterian can continue their great run and maybe make a 2-bid Pioneer Football League. I think that's something that's realistic if there is a tie at the top, if Presbyterian loses a game.
I'm moving on to my second game of the week, which is on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm actually going Tennessee at Mississippi State. Tennessee, I don't need to tell you about them. We all know about Joey Aguilar and the job he's done so far and how they really deserve to win against Georgia if it weren't for the missed field goal as time expired. But for Mississippi State, they're quietly building a decent resume. They've won 3 out of their last 4 games by at least 17 points. The only exception being Arizona State, who was a playoff team last year by 4. No one's really talking about them since they lost to Toledo last year and just were the worst in the SEC, but they really seem to have turned things around. They have a top 15 red zone defense and they're 16th in scoring defense. So it's very bend, don't break. But if they don't give up the deep ball to Tennessee, then I think they really have a chance to kind of stop that spread offense near the red zone. Where if they again don't give up the deep ball and they do get to kind of field goal range, I think they can very much get some stops there. Now another thing to watch out for, just the way Davis Wade is built. If they win the toss and get to choose which side that Tennessee plays or which side they have to drive towards. There's one end zone that's empty. There's no stands behind it. It's just the video board in the locker rooms. The other side's student section, right? So if you get to the second and fourth quarter, and those cowbells can get very loud. So Tennessee's gonna have to go with a silent count if they do have to play towards those sides as you get down to crunch time. If it's a close game. And that's not easy to do in a spread offense like that Josh Heupel runs. So sneaky game to watch out for, Tennessee at State.
Yeah, I know I'm overlooking it too. Like I know for me, like I'm hard pressed to take Mississippi State as serious. I mean, I know it's a new team this year, but last year with how bad that team was, it's kind of hard for me. But a 4-0 start is amazing this year. I do have them going to a bowl, but this will be a good litmus test to see if they are in that upper echelon of the SEC that could compete for an at-large playoff bid. So yeah, that one is definitely an exciting one. That one definitely slipped under the radar. But then again, I don't really watch the SEC, so
it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. It's gonna be a sneaky good game, and it kind of might get buried in what's a very strong slate.
Yeah, exactly. So I might give that one a look. Honestly, the rare SEC view for me. So going on to my last game of the week, I got Florida State versus Virginia on Friday night at 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. I know Fox is always bringing the noise with their great Friday night package. They got TCU versus Arizona State, which TCU's ranked. That one should be great. But I mean, this one 30 years ago, exactly 30 years ago, Florida State and Virginia played on a Thursday night on ESPN in 1995, and Virginia ended up handing Florida State their first loss in ACC play ever. I think they had gone undefeated from 1992 all the way to that point in 1995. I think 92 is when they joined the ACC. So gave Florida State their first loss ever in ACC play. Not going to say the same thing is going to happen, but man, this is such a great quarterback matchup. Chandler Morris, the well-traveled Chandler Morris, is already having a great year so far. I mean, really, he could honestly put himself into the Heisman discussion with the win over number 8 Florida State at home on a Friday night. I mean, that's a Heisman moment that's a Heisman worthy moment if there ever was one. I mean, right now this year, like Morris was amazing last year for North Texas, but I mean, this year he's got 1,050 yards in 4 games. UVA is 3-1. They look like they have a path to a bowl, the inside track to a bowl. And then, of course, you don't need any introduction for Florida State because Florida State, of course, beat Alabama. I mean, they look like they're back, and there is that look ahead factor to the Miami game that's upcoming. You have your arch rival. Going to be playing on primetime on ABC next week, and you could overlook a team like Virginia. So this one might have history repeating itself. I can talk myself into thinking history will repeat itself in Charlottesville. Come tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern. So I'm excited for that one too, if not for anything else but the nostalgia.
Yeah, it's sneaky good game. Another one that could be, fly under the radar a little bit. Big week ahead. No, you're absolutely right. I'm all for that game as well. So my last game of the week, I'm going with San Jose State at Stanford. I mean, this is full on desperation mode with one win each, both of them with very disappointing seasons. San Jose State probably with the better resume coming into the year, but all the hype with Stanford and Andrew Luck coming back to run the program, and Frank Reich being a former NFL head coach that's coming down, right? So San Jose State has lost 7 of their last 8 non-conference road games. That was with Nick Nash. Obviously, the game's at Stanford as to make that stat relevant. But one thing to watch: most of Stanford's sacks are from non-defensive linemen. I haven't really dug deep on how common that is. It just strikes me as interesting because I didn't realize that about their defense. So if San Jose State can't protect the blitz and they just end up being behind the sticks a lot, I can see this being a multiple score margin in favor of Stanford. But if it's close, then it means or if it's not a blowout, then I think San Jose State has a chance. I don't think San Jose State can blow out Stanford, is what I'm trying to verbalize, but had difficulty doing so. So I don't know. Interesting game to watch. I want to see, neither one of these teams, I think, really envisions themselves only having one win going into October. So we'll see who comes out on top.
Yeah, I mean, San Jose State is dangerously close at times to kind of, playing themselves out of a bowl game. And I know it's early, but I mean, Idaho too was pesky last week.
Yeah, that was I know that was just annoying to have to oh my gosh, because they're playing tough. Idaho is.
Yeah, but you can't really blame San Jose State for losing to Texas early in the year. I mean, but this one too, I really think San Jose State is generally more juiced for the big Bill Walsh legacy game than Stanford is. But we'll see if that holds true. I mean, because Stanford too will be fighting for their bowl life early on as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, but definitely a lot to look forward to this week. Very, very excited for it. Jackson, do you have anything final to add before we sign off?
I think that's it, man. Very excited. It's gonna be another great week of college football.
Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned for just this week in college football for the weeks ahead. Very excited just to continue covering this year. But everyone, thank you for watching. Lord bless you. Lord keep you. Make his face shine upon you. Be gracious to you. And Peace, love, and soul on the Burger Popper.